Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to Just One More Giveaway. You all have a chance to win one of 3 brand new Signum Cero bronze watches with incredible dials worth up to $500 US a piece. Now, free stuff equals sponsored video, and indeed, this video is sponsored by Signum watches. If you haven't heard of Signum watches, they launched late last year. They are a sister brand to Stratton watches. I have reviewed a bunch of Strattons on the channel over the last 4 years. I'm wearing my Special now. They're owned by the same brand owner, Kyle, coming out of Switzerland. Stratton tends to focus on retro motorsport inspired chronographs. Signum, quite different, value focused dive watches with incredible dials, and indeed the 3 that are on offer today that I'm going to show you today. One features green copper turquoise, one features blue labradorite on the dial, the third is a forged carbon dial infused with Loom. That one made a cameo appearance on Loom Wars episode 8 a couple of months back. Now, if you don't win one of these 3 today, do not despair. You will find a 10% discount code in the description of the video if you want to buy yourself a Signum. So what do you have to do to win it? Well, you have to stick around a little bit longer. I'm going to review these 3, and it is going to be a review with pros and cons. Then I'll tell you what you need to do to win one. Let's flip the camera and get on with it. So what are we dealing with today then? What can you win? Well, all 3 of these watches come in the same packaging. It's a pretty basic cardboard box in black. The packaging will be on the moans and niggles list later on today. 2-year warranty though, which is good. And that is the larger size 42.5mm in blue labradorite. Let me get a close up on that dial. Looks pretty dull, Jody. I thought you said these dials were spectacular. Oh, what about that? Yeah, massively dynamic, these blue labradorite dials. Obviously, each of these sliced from a piece of Canadian mineral, so every one of them is unique. And yeah, some angles they look dark blue, kind of purple almost, and some angles they just pop massively. That is really, really interesting. Yeah, these ones definitely about the dials today. That is Signum's USP. The rest of the watch is kind of functional, it's clean, it's uncomplicated in terms of the branding and the design, but yeah, that is why you'd be buying one of these. Or perhaps this is why you'd be buying one of these. This is one of the green copper turquoise. Again, that's the name of the mineral. I'm not quite sure what part of the world that hails from. 2 different sizes of these watches are available. There was the 42.5, that's the labradorite version. This one is a 39.5, but it's still got plenty of chunk despite that slightly smaller diameter dimension. And this is the third. This is the one with the Loom infused forged carbon dial. The most demure of the 3 until you switch off the lights, that is. So all of these watches are Seiko NH powered. NH35 in the date ones, NH38 in the no date ones, so you don't have that ghost date position. So plenty of options. They also do a 4th dial. They do a meteorite as well. Link to their website in the description, of course. So dimensions then, the big one, 42.5mm as noted, bang on 14mm thick with a 49.5mm lug to lug and drilled lugs. The larger size watch has 22mm lug widths, and on the supplied leather strap with big bronze buckle, this one weighs in at 117 grams. The smaller watch is still pretty chunky, 39.5mm diameter, 13.6mm thick with a 44.5 lug to lug, 20mm lug width and 101 grams, again on the supplied leather. CUSN8 marine grade bronze, case, crown and bezel stainless steel case back, of course, so it doesn't turn the back of your wrist green, and I'm going to leave those stickers on so the new owners will have the satisfaction of peeling them off for themselves. Now that is a screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance. The crowns are loomed. I will show you the loom on these later on. It is very nice. Coin edge bezel with fully loomed ceramic bezel insert, flat sapphire crystal with anti-reflective undercoating. Bronze watches, the case finishing never has to be all that elaborate, but they have managed some nice chamfered edges here. That is going to patina a treat. Marine grade copper bronze always patinas better than aluminium bronze in my experience. Combine that with a dial and you're going to have a really nice emerging effect over the months and years of ownership with this one. Leather straps look good and are nice and comfortable. Reminds me of the Spinnaker straps. If you bought a Spinnaker in the past, you'll know what I'm talking about. Those kind of sealed edges. Spinnaker claim theirs are waterproof, but Signum make no such claims. 2 retainers and a large Panerai style bronze buckle, etched with the Signum logo, also in CUSN8. And I gave you a sneak peek of this earlier on, kind of standard fare, screw down stainless steel with a fish in the middle and the spec sheet around the outer edges. But let's get these watches outside into some natural light, because that is where the dials really show off. That's where they do their thing. Applied indices here. The Signum logo is kind of embossed, a little silver logo above the pinion. Automatic 200 meters printed beneath the pinion. Everything else is applied, including a frame, a silver high polished frame around the date complication at 6, if indeed the watch features a date complication. Double tapered baton at 12, single tapered batons at the 3 and the 9, and circular indices everywhere else. Large segmented sword-shaped hands and a nice bit of colour on that paddle tip second hand. The syringe tip of that second hand just about touching the rehaut. Angled rehaut chapter ring in a kind of mid-gloss silver, picking out the silver surrounds those indices, and a brush finish on the handset. Printed minute markers on that with prominent 5s. Fully loomed ceramic bezel insert as noted, with Arabics at the 15, the 30, the 45, dots on the minutes, batons at the 5s, and a big triangle at the 0/60. Kyle doesn't tend to over-brand his watches or over-clutter the dials with needless lines of text, which is just as well, because like I said, it's all about the dial materials with these ones. And it's all about the loom with these ones as well. Loomed crowns as noted, and loomed date wheels should you opt for the date options. Quite different treatment across the board with these three. The green copper bronze one on the left with some C3 alike. It isn't specified, but I assume it's C3 or the equivalent. It certainly has the same green colour. The watch in the middle is the larger Labradorite with BGW9 or its equivalent. The watch on the right is the Loom infused carbon dial, and as you can see there, they've infused the dial with C3, but the hands, the indices and the bezel insert are BGW9, so you get a two-tone effect there. However, it doesn't last all that long if I turn the speed up. The hands and the indices of all three watches do last for a reasonable time though. The bezel inserts begin to fade first, but that is kind of par for the course. Overall, good job on the Loom. And that is what the larger 42.5 looks like on my 7-inch wrist. Now you see the dial, now you don't. Now you see it, now you don't. As I said, properly dynamic, always changing this one. And that's the 39.5. By comparison, obviously a smaller set of dimensions across the board, but a real chunky feel to it thanks to the fact that it is 13.6 mil thick and not that much lighter, still tipping the scales at just on 100 grams. And there they are, side by side, a la the Loom shop. They do the Labradorite with a different colour. They do it with a purple piece of dial material and a black bezel insert and darker strap. If you're not into the blue, I think that one could be interesting, and also a meteorite as I mentioned. But also as I mentioned, I do have a couple of moans and niggles. The packaging, as mentioned, is not all that flash, especially considering that depending on which dial you go for, these Signums are up to $400. It's a very, very basic cardboard box. There's a kind of to and fro argument. You don't want too much money to go into the packaging, but yeah, it could have been a little bit nicer, I'm sure, without breaking the bank or eating into the profit margins too much. And it's a 200 meter screw down crown, fish on the back, dive watch with a bronze case that's just itching to jump in the pool and develop some patina, but it comes on a leather strap. I appreciate for most people this is going to be a desk diver, but why not include a second rubber strap as part of the bonus? Again, at $500, I'm sure that could be squeezed into there somehow. Give us one buckle, that's not a problem, but maybe chuck in a little tool so we can swap it over ourselves. I think an option where you could get this one wet out of the box would have been much appreciated. And to reiterate the point once more, it is really all about the dial. If you're not into nuclear green or dynamic Labradorite or forged carbon, the rest of the watch is fairly generic. There's nothing that really jumps out at you. Apart from the dial, I guess with a bright green dial, it doesn't need much else that jumps out at you, but yeah, these aren't going to be for everybody, I guess. But if you do like the look, if these dials speak to you and you fancy owning one of these without actually paying for it, stay tuned. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a future video. Yeah, alright, I better tell you how you win one of these three watches, hadn't I? Well, firstly, you have to be a subscriber of this channel. If you're not already, there's a large button marked subscribe that can help you with that. Secondly, you have to sign up for the Signum mailing list. I'll leave a link in the description. Enter your email address there. Third thing you need to do is leave a comment on this video saying, I have entered, hey, whatever, it doesn't matter. I will scan through those at random next Sunday night at 7 PM Australia time, exactly 1 week after this video launch. I will reply to 3 comments saying, hey, congratulations, you've won. Please contact me by email. The winners contact me by email. I cross-check with Kyle that you've signed up for the newsletter and I post you your choice of watch. Simples. This time, thanks for watching. I'll see you in a future video.